once again they'll show their fans what a coyote is made of. Or when our blues, the orange and white, will always rise above. They're the pride of South Texas, from the home of the brave. Beneath the sky dome in Dallas, Texas, coyote spirit still lives today.
Oh, hey, sorry I didn't see you guys there. Welcome to episode 8. This episode will be about Dave Campbell's Texas football. Most of you all know about them. They put out a mock realignment. Specifically, Matt Stepp, I think, did it. He was on the South Texas Football Unlimited podcast yesterday. If you didn't see it, go back and watch it. It's on my timeline somewhere. I shared it. And he does these mock realignments. They always say they're mock, but a lot of times they end up being like the real thing. Like a lot of the cutoff numbers and stuff that were projected by them that were mock, they ended up being the real deal. So they have their inside information, and they should. They're the Bible of high school football, the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine.
And they don't think I know a buttload of crap about the gospel, but I do.
Anyway, they put out these mock realignments. Matt Stepp did, and they're usually pretty accurate. You know, this isn't set in stone. This isn't the real thing. Isn't going to come out till February, but. Just to have something to bullshit on the page, I want to do a little episode on it. And today will be his mock realignment of Dave Campbell's mock realignment of District 15-4A. And this one they have Alice, Calallen, Calhoun, Rockport-Fulton, and Tuloso-Midway. So we're losing Miller out of that one. Miller's moving up to 5A. They have 5A D2 numbers, but CCISD once again is opting everyone up to D1. I don't know why they do that. It's the only CCISD school that actually has D1 numbers is Corpus Christi Vets, but they opt up all the other 5 other teams. I guess it makes sense. The 5A D1 for whatever reason is an easier route to round 5 than D2 is. It's easier than 4A actually also, but that's gonna get a little harder because Wagner's moving back down to 5A D1. Smiths and Valley's moving down to 5A D1. Edinburgh Vela's moving down to 581. Harlingen South's moving down to 581. So it's gonna be a little harder to get to round 5 out of that 581 region area this season. But that's for the next episode. We'll do 581. This episode's gonna be on 481. Like I said, Alice, Calallen, Calhoun, Rockport-Fulton, Tuloso-Midway. The season's not even officially over. There's still games to be played this week, so there's not a lot of information. I have no idea who has how many kids coming back. I know a little bit about Alice and Miller because I'm a little bit close to the programs. Obviously, I play for Alice.
They're the pride of South Texas.
You saw me reminiscing with my old high school helmet, but Alice was loaded with sophomores this season and underclassmen, so that led to a little bit of inconsistency. They would look great one week and then not so much next week. It just you can't blame them. There's a lot of youth on the team this season. I know that because I'm from Alice, and so I have friends from Alice. This is the episode where I don't know a lot of what other teams are gonna have bringing back. Calallen was supposed to be a little better this year than they were because they had a buttload of people coming back from last season. So I don't know how many they'll have coming back. Obviously, they have the coaching change. Congratulations to Danaher on his retirement. I hope he enjoys his retirement with a great career. 48 year career, 38 years at Calallen as a head coach, 37 straight playoff appearances, all-time winningest coach, 490 wins, just 10 show. Man, if he could have just coached one more year, he would have gotten the 500 mark. But either way, he retires as the all-time winningest coach.
I told you, all of my critics, I told you all that I was the greatest of all time
in Texas high school football history. So congratulations to him for that. Yeah, so out of this district, the projections have Beeville. I have them Miller leaving to 5A D1, and then Beeville still 4A, but they have them going to a different district with Floresville, Lavernia, Pleasanton, and Somerset. These are really small districts, man. I wish it would have been like this when I played. You win one game and you're in the playoffs, man. But so you're gonna have to fight, man. And Kingsville 1, 2, 3. Kingsville in the district with only 4 teams projection. Kingsville's with Hidalgo, La Feria, and Zapata. So Kingsville's going to make the playoffs. If this holds up, that district, everyone makes the playoffs no matter what. But they got to find, God, I just don't see how you do. They're going to have to find 7 non-district games in Kingsville's district by the projection. Like I said, these aren't set in stone. These are just projections, but it usually ends up being this way. The District 15 4A with Alice, Calallen, Calhoun, Rockport, and Tuloso. So that's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 teams. So you're going to have to find 6 non-district games. That's a tough one. I mean, you're going to, like I went in my rant in the other video about how you need to start scheduling tougher competition for non-district, or you're going to keep getting your ass whooped in the playoffs once you meet those teams from north of San Antonio. You got to get the kids used to it. You got to get them looking. Like I said, it's just the post that I made a few days ago. I'm going to repeat it. And nobody really went at me on the Facebook page, but on Twitter, some clowns started going at me that you can't. Anyway, well, that's for another. But the post I made the other day, I'll just read it word for word what I put, and it is just facts, man. I don't care if you don't agree with it. If you don't want to accept it, it's facts. I said, not being used to seeing elite speed will cause you to think you're already fast enough yourself. Not being used to seeing elite power will cause you to think you're already strong enough yourself. Not being used to seeing elite talent will cause you to think you're already an elite talent yourself. It's just the way it is. You think everything revolves around the area you're at. You get used to, like, you beat up on this team and that team because they're not very good teams, and you get a false sense of how good you are. I'd rather lose to a team from north of San Antonio by 50 points if it's going to improve my program 5 years down the road.
It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
Not worry about my coaching record or all that other bullshit. I mean, and like I said, coaches from down here with expectations of deep playoff runs need to stop padding their win column stats with weak opponents on the non-district schedule and start scheduling elite talent from San Antonio and on up. It's an opinion, but it's facts also. It didn't used to be this way. We used to compete with everybody back in the day. At some point, everybody advanced, and we didn't. I understand you can't do nothing about your height. But that's the only thing you can't control. You don't have to be from north of San Antonio to be strong or to be fast. That's a bunch of horse shit. People who make those comments have shit for brains. It just is what it is. Yeah, you don't have to be from a certain geographical area to know how to work on your speed or your strength. You can, like I said, you can't do anything about your height, but you can do everything in the world about your speed and your strength and your talent. And your will. And people get mad, and they're getting mad on Twitter. Are you saying we don't work hard here? Well, apparently not. I'm not saying you don't work hard, but you obviously don't work as hard as kids from up north. It just is what it is, and they try and use examples. Are you saying if Alice schedules Duncanville, they're going to... No, stop making horse shit, bogus narratives. Duncanville is a 6A team with almost 5,000 enrollment. There's no teams down here in this area that are 6A. There's some in the valley, but I ain't talking about the valley. I'm talking about Coastal Bend. There's nobody here that's going to have to worry about teams like Duncanville. Most of the teams in this area are 4A and 3A. We got the corporate schools that are all 5A, and Flower Bluff and GP, but the majority of the teams around here are 4A and 3A. There's nobody here that has to worry about scheduling Duncanville or Austin Westlake types. Just stop it. Stop with those bullshit. That's your comeback to what I'm saying about this. It's just horseshit. Calallen does it. Calallen competes with anyone in the state in 4A or the 5A level, so why can't the other teams around here do it? Calallen's not from up north. They're right here. They're right here, man. They're right here next to you. If they can do it, why can't anyone else do it? People need to change. People down here need to change their thinking, man. You can say, oh, the prayers, or this is my year, all you want. That's not going to win games, man. You got to work on your speed, your strength, your talent. It is what it is, dude. Everybody thinks this is our year. And this doesn't work out that way, man. It's just because everybody thinks that way. So eventually talent wins out. Everyone thinks, oh, I'm a senior. This is my year. It doesn't work that way, man. You got to put in the work. You got to put in the extra work. If it's football season and you happen to be good at baseball also or whatever other sports, you got to... come on, man. If you're not 100% dedicated to the sport that's going on during that season, then don't play the sport. You're doing disservice to your teammates, man. Don't disrespect your teammates and your program like that. Put in the work. If it's football season, stop with the baseball camp crap, man. It's just wait for baseball season. It is, you don't go to football camps during baseball season, so don't disrespect football like that. I'm sorry to pick on baseball people, but it just seems to be that sport. Only the certain people do that. I don't get it. You know, like I said, you don't just see during baseball season. People are when they're supposed to be practicing baseball, they're not practicing football to get ready for football. Yeah. So back to anyway the districts really quick. It's just around here the 4A local 4A D1s are going to be the district Beeville is projected to be in. It's Beeville, Jones, Floresville, Lavernia, Pleasanton, and Somerset. The next district 15-4A is Alice, Calallen, Calhoun, Rockport, and Tuloso-Midway, and then the last local team, the 4A D1 is Kingsville. Their district is Hidalgo, Kingsville, La Feria, Zapata. But sticking with that and sticking with Kingsville, man, I don't know what happened to Kingsville, man. It's just the only thing I can think of is Santa Gertruda's opening up. Back when they did what's been about 10, 15 years, it kind of took kids away from Kingsville. Kingsville's a weird situation, man. When I was in high school in the 90s, 80s, 90s, and even when Coach Watley got to Alice, he was quoted one time as saying, Kingsville's got the most talent in the area. If they ever figure it out, they're going to be dangerous. And it's true. It's just Kingsville was always loaded in the 80s and 90s, and they just, when you don't have the culture, there's something to be said about a culture, man. And I'll say it, and I'll be called a homer, but growing up in Alice, it was just a certain culture. Everyone wanted to be an Alice Scout growing up. It just, cultures matter. Your culture wins you games that you shouldn't win. Your culture causes you to outwork teams, to get victories by outworking teams, man. That's how Alice did it in back in the day, and it was just, and they had talent too. It's not to say they didn't have talent and they only outworked teams, but they won a lot of games that you looking at them, they should not have won, but they just outworked the shit out of everybody, man. Alice had their down year this season. I think they finished 3-7, but it was to make an excuse from our alma mater. I mean, their 2020 was cut short. They didn't start the season because of COVID. They only played half a season that season in 2020, and then they didn't have off season because of the social distance learning or whatever. So it is what it is I think. And then their youth is why they're kind of all over the place this season. Calallen, I'm not going to get into all of it. Just there was stuff going on in Calallen. Everybody, it's just, I thought they were going to be better than last year. They weren't. You know, they had returned, I think, 16, 17 starters, but it doesn't always work out that way sometimes. And just, I think they're not going to miss a beat though. You know, they lose Danaher, but then they're supposedly hiring Coach Campbell, the defensive coordinator, to take over. I don't know what to think. I mean, that's always been their strong point in Calallen is their defense. So you want to assume that they're still going to be just as great. But then saying that, it feels like you're disrespecting Danaher to say they're not going to miss a beat. But I don't think they'll miss a beat. This is not disrespect to Danaher. I just think Campbell's also going to be a great coach, a great defensive coordinator. One of the best in the state, the defensive coordinators. A lot of times that's what kept them in a lot of games, is how great their defense was. So I don't think they'll miss a beat. Calallen will still be Calallen. Calhoun will be Calhoun no matter what they have returning, because it's just that damn offense is so hard to defend, man. You know, how do you mimic that in practice when you're preparing for it that week, when you got Calhoun that week? It's just, they're always going to be good. There's certain teams have trouble, certain coaches have trouble, are always going to have trouble figuring out that triple option. The flex bone they run, the flex bone ace, whatever it is, the formation. I thought it was ace. Some people call it flex bone. Rockport-Fulton also is moving up in the district. You know, this district loses Miller and Beeville, but then they gain Rockport. Rockport had that did Rockport beat Miller? Rockport beat Miller 2 years ago and then lost to them this season. Yeah, Rockport beat Miller 2 years ago, lost to them this season barely. It was a close game, so it's just, you're not losing much by losing Miller out of this district. So you're gaining Rockport and that slot T. The slot is kind of. Someone from Rockport, let me know in the comments section if I'm saying this wrong, because I've been saying it, and I assume it's like a slot T, like a hybrid slot T kind of. It's just they run the slot T out of that's what they base it on, but they'll be in the not shotgun formation, what do you call it, pistol formation out of it, and they'll throw the ball a lot. Tuloso-Midway had a brand new coach this year, so I didn't get to go to any Tuloso-Midway games. I didn't see a single highlight of Tuloso-Midway. I don't even know what they run. Sorry, man, but. They had a new coach, so give them a little bit of an excuse. And a new coach, you're trying to start a new culture in that program, and hopefully it works out for them. So Kingsville's stuck in that. Kingsville be stuck in that Valley district. I know a lot about the team. Hidalgo, yes, Hidalgo. Alice picked Hidalgo the last couple of years in the playoffs, and in non-district. Beat them both years. Beat them really bad this season, and I think so. Miller beat them, knocked Hidalgo out of the playoffs. But Hidalgo was a super young team this year, so they're going to be really good again this next year. They were really good in 2020. You know, Alice barely beat them in round one of the playoffs, I think by 7 points. La Feria this year, I think they finished 7-2. Both their losses were to Beeville. They got beat by multiple scores by Beeville. I don't know what they have coming back. This was supposed to be their good year, and they lost both games to Beeville. Zapata is at... And moving on to that Beeville-Jones district with Floresville, Lavernia, Pleasanton, Somerset. I think all these were playoff teams. Floresville had a really good season. Lavernia is always pretty good. Pleasanton knocked Beeville out of the second round of the playoffs. Somerset played Beeville during the regular season and beat Beeville during the regular season. So that's going to be another... What can you say? I mean, every team in that district was a playoff team. I got to look at Lavernia because I don't know. Let me look up Lavernia before I blow smoke up your ass. No, Lavernia was a 2-9 team. How are they 2-9? They made the playoffs with a 2-8 record, and then they lost to LBJ in round 1, 54-7. Damn, Lavernia only won 2 games. Their 2 wins were against LaGrange and Uvalde, and wow. But they barely lost to Pleasant Somerset by 7 points. Their losses are to tough teams, though. They lost to Cuero, Geronimo Navarro, Floresville, Seguin, Somerset, Bernie, Pleasanton, Austin LBJ. So you can't say they're not going to be competitive in that district because their losses were to some really good teams. So yeah, so those are the 4A D1 teams locally projections. You know, is it the Beeville, Floresville, Lavernia, Pleasanton, Somerset, one district. Alice, Calallen, Calhoun, Rockport, Tuloso-Midway is another district. Hidalgo, Kingsville, La Feria, Zapata is another district. I think those are the only ones. So you're going to have someone from Alice's district playing Kingsville's district right off the bat. Region 4, looking at Region 4, what their projections are, the better teams are San Antonio Davenport. That must be a new school. I've never heard of Davenport. I mean, I heard of it, but not a lot. So it must be one of their new schools. That district's not too... Well, they got Canyon Lake. Is that New Braunfels Canyon Lake? No, it's not. Yeah, so some of the better teams in this region, 4AD1 region, will be teams like Bernie, Canyon Lake, San Antonio Memorial, Kennedy aren't always very good, usually not very good. Uvalde is not very good. San Antonio Davenport I don't know anything about. I'm not going to pretend I do. So this is the region. The better teams will be Bernie, Canyon Lake, Pleasanton, Somerset, Calallen, Calhoun. Those will be the usual suspects, the better teams out of the region in this district. So this isn't too bad. Looking at this projection, there's a lot of potential for a local team to go to round 5. It's kind of your biggest worry would be maybe someone out of the local Alice Calallen district is meeting them again in the playoffs. It's probably Bernie too. Bernie, I don't know how many. Nothing's out yet. You know, this is easier to do when the new Dave Campbell's magazines come out in June, and you understand who's bringing back what and how many people they're bringing back. It's just not a lot of information yet. You know, just doing this for fun. These things will be more accurate when I do it again and coming up in June. But I wanted to put out something anyway just to get people talking. But share these videos, man. Share these videos. Comment on them. Get engaged. Just engage in the comment section. This stuff's not fun unless you engage. You know. You want to get discussions going so you can get information. That's how you get information. You know, someone knows something about your team that you didn't know. If you start commenting on it, or people start commenting and put on information that you didn't realize was going on with your program. I do think, I'm not even going to get into predictions. Like I said, I'm from Alice, so I know a little bit about Alice, and I know they were super heavy in the underclassmen this year, but they had like 12 sophomores either starting or getting significant playing time at some points. So I know they'll have a lot coming back. But yeah, I'm not getting into predictions or anything because I don't know what anyone else has coming back. Yeah, but just to get into my own personal stuff, when I was joking around with the helmet to start the show, but this was my... I got to steal my helmet my senior year. Atwood, if you're watching this, bring back these pride stickers, man. Bring back this shield. I wish Alice would have never done away with this. This was my senior year. This was 91. That was the last year Alice used these helmets officially as on a regular basis. Coach Davis brought them back, I think, in 2008, his last year in Alice. He brought them back as an alternate helmet, and they used them a couple of times that season. Not as a regular thing. They had their own helmets. They had their own burnt orange helmets, but. And then Atwood brought back this shield, but it's not exactly the same. He brought the shield back, but on a burnt orange helmet, so it still looks nice. You know, I don't think they used them this year. They had them last year. That's kind of like was Alice's thing. Like GP has their thing. They've always stuck with the same logo, Calallen, for the last, since Danner's been there, stuck with the cats on their helmet. I'm all for changing, if it's an alternate, but don't do away with something that the program was known for, man. I wish Alice would go back to these old shield with the pride stickers, and these were the pride stickers we got for different stuff. It's a lot different back then than it is now. You see these helmets with tiny ass little stickers now because they get them for anything. We didn't get them for anything back then. There was a lot of it's just the criteria of what you had to do to get one. At least there in Alice was different, man, and it's different now, which is why they're tiny. I think they went back to these Pride. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I thought I saw some helmets this year with these Pride stickers. But yeah, that's my alma mater, man. And that's where I played. And that was, so I'm going to put a couple of these episodes on the mock realignments for the local stuff. So they'll probably be, I'll do 5A tomorrow or in a day or two. And then I'll do 3A and 2A. I'll put them together. I don't think we have too many local 2As. I'll just put 3A and 2A together after that. And then after this show, the 5A show and the 3A and 2A show, I want to get into something different. I want to see if I can get permission at my favorite restaurant, Bubba's 33, to get a table there and get a couple of you guys, maybe 2 or 3 of you, 3 or 4 of you, and one of those big round tables there in the corner there at Bubba's 33. Maybe we can film an episode there. Just us bullshitting sports, talking sports, what we expect from our teams coming up. If I can manage to make that happen, I'll announce it on the page so that anyone interested can contact me and let me know if you're interested in doing that. It could be fun, man. It's just, I'd rather have you guys, random fans, than to go out and get I'm not saying I wouldn't want a coach to do it also. That'd be nice also. But I'd rather have random fans just bullshitting sports. That's what this show isn't really meant to be. It's what I wanted to do. But I want to just be like people bullshitting about sports and opinions, and so I still want to get to that. I'll be a little more organized by next season. This is the first time I do something like this, so it's just kind of been feeling it out. But and just to send a few props out to some of the players in the all district. They got different accolades for all district this year when it was announced. As far as the teams locally in the 4A D1, the MVP of 4A, 15 4A Division 1 was Ryan Salas from Alice. But some people didn't understand it's MVP. It's not MVT. MVP stands for Most Valuable Player, not Most Valuable Team. Some people were mad in the comment section because their quarterback put up these stats and those stats, and that's not what MVP is. It's not a stat show. It's not like I said, if that was the case, Mike Leach's quarterbacks at Texas Tech would have won the Heisman Trophy every year if it was just about quarterback stats and passing yards. It's not how it works. You can't just go by stats. Some teams throw the ball 50 times a game, so their quarterbacks are going to have amazing stats. Some teams throw the ball 10, 20 times a game. So you can't just judge quarterbacks on, this kid threw for 4,000 yards and this one only threw for 2,000 yards or whatever. It doesn't work that way. And the Ryan Salas kid that got MVP for Alice, he was a beast not only on offense but on defense. He wasn't just because he was projected to be this great receiver, and then when he got put on defense, he just took time off on defense and just didn't really give a shit about defense because offense is his main thing. He was a beast on both sides of the ball. That's why he got MVP. Some kids that they're great on offense, no offense, but it is what it is. They care about that one side of the ball, and when you put them on the other side of the ball, they're not beasts. This kid was a beast on both sides of the ball, and that's why he got MVP. Offensive Player of the Year was Epi Hinojosa from Calallen. He's coming back. Ryan Salas ain't coming back. He was a senior for Alice. Epi Hinojosa for Calallen was a junior, got Offensive Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year was a senior for Calallen, Colton Calloway. The co-newcomers of the year were Tony Hensley Jr. from Port Lavaca, Calhoun. Tony Hensley, he's a junior from Port Lavaca, Calhoun. Ernest Hinojosa is a junior from Calallen. Most valuable offensive back, Esteban Cruz was a senior in Calhoun. Most valuable offensive lineman, Cole Hobbs was a senior at Calallen. Vincent Samudio was a senior in Calhoun. Most valuable defensive lineman, Dejan Bisbee was a senior at Miller. That kid was a beast, man. I can't believe he was a senior. He's finally good. He was there. I think he's been starting since he was like a sophomore or freshman. He's great talent, man. Most valuable linebacker was William Birch from Calallen. Most valuable secondary back, Cade Wood of Calallen. Most valuable utility player. I'm going to get into all this, man. Yeah, I'll do another show for all these honors. I don't know why I got into this. It's just the MVP was I just did it on purpose. I wanted to bring up the MVP and why Ryan Salas from Malice was the MVP. It doesn't matter if you weren't in the playoff team. It's not what MVP is. It's, when you beat a team barely by 4 points, you shouldn't be talking shit about them as being, they couldn't even make the playoffs and 4 teams make the playoffs. I mean, come on, man. It's just, stop it. Your team was 8 total points away themselves from not even making the playoffs. So just stop talking like you're Austin Westlake and Alice is a Bad News Bears. It was a 4-point game, man. Keep it real, man. Yeah, but just to go back to it, looking at these districts, man, I mean, Kingsville's district only has 4 teams. Alice and Calallen. There's just the other two local 4A districts with local teams only have 5 teams. So they're gonna have to find 6 non-district games. Kingsville's district's gonna have to find 7 non-district games, man. So there's gonna be a lot of these teams playing each other, and then it sucks because then you're gonna see each other right away in the playoffs. So go up north, man. Stop. You're doing disservice to your players, man. Not everybody. You got to start somewhere. You got to start small.
Big things have small beginnings.
If you're not one of these big programs around here, so I would understand that. I don't expect Ropstown to schedule someone from Austin. You got to start somewhere. You got to start slow, but these other programs have been around for a while, and they're the better programs here in the area. Stop scheduling easy wins, man. I mean, it's just go schedule some of the 4A, 5A area, 5A teams from the Austin area. And no one's asking you to schedule Austin Westlake. No one expects that of you. Nobody around here has even come close to Austin Westlake, and that's okay because there's no 6A teams around here. They're the same size as them anyway. But that's no excuse to not schedule something better. It doesn't even have to be a big classification. You go schedule Cuero. Cuero's 4A D2. It doesn't matter. It's teams like that are going to make you better. I'm not going to get into naming teams and scheduling them aren't going to make you better because I'm not trying to crap on certain teams or anything like that, but I think you all get my point. You want better results in the playoffs? You want your kids not to be shell-shocked when they go up against someone like Austin LBJ? Then schedule teams like that for non-district. Yeah, but looking at this projection, still, it's just a projection. The region 4A D1 region is just, it looks like it's up for grabs, man. There's not like one team, like Austin LBJ is not going to be here anymore. They're moving up to 5A. That's why they're not around here. They're still 4A, obviously, this season. They're playing for the state championship this weekend, but Austin LBJ is moving up to 5A. I don't know if it's 5A D2 or D1. I don't know if they're opting them up or what's going on, if their enrollment went up, but they're not going to be 4A D1 anymore. So they're not going to be there to worry about, and so it's kind of going to be up for grabs with, you say Calallen's still the favorite just because of name recognition, Calhoun, Bernie, Canyon Lake. I mean, if I had to, those are the 4 teams I'd say right off the bat. Bernie, Canyon Lake, Calallen, Calhoun. I do think Alice is going to be in the mix this year, and I'm not... Stop with your Alice homers. Wait, I'm wearing Alice shit. I forgot. Dude, nobody even accuses me of being Alice homer. They accuse me of being Miller homer. It's just... because of certain relationships I have, I know more about certain teams than I know about others, or I have more of a friendly relationship with certain teams than I have with others. But on my page, I keep it fair. I don't kiss one team's ass or not if I put more Miller stuff, Ross stuff, it's because I know Miller and Alice. You want me to know your team? Help me out. But I keep it as fair as possible on my page. You know, I don't try and kiss certain teams' butts. If you're a team that wins a lot, you're gonna get talked about more. I'm trying to bring attention to teams from down here that are making noise and they're representing South Texas the right way. And it can't always be Calallen and Refugio in the 4th and 5th round of the playoffs. You know, other teams around here have to step it up. And then that starts with putting better teams on your non-district schedule. That's just how it is. It's just I know I don't have the experience. I'm not a coach. I haven't been doing what you're doing. Some of you coaches are watching this and thinking, who the fuck is this guy? It doesn't take coaching degrees to figure certain shit out. I mean, it's just some stuff is common sense. Stop scheduling Tomato Can High for 4 non-district games if you want to, and then turn around and complain because you don't have what it takes to beat Austin OBJ in the playoffs or teams like that. Stop it. Schedule better opponents. I don't need a coaching degree or to have been coaching for 20, 30 years to understand shit like that. That's common sense. Do better for South Texas. I mean, that's what this is about, is get back to competing the way we used to. I remember I was arguing with someone else the other day about it didn't used to be this way. I remember the 1988 playoffs. Carol and Alice, in round 1 of the playoffs, played Austin Westlake and Austin OBJ, and Carol beat Westlake, I think, 28-7 in round 1 of the playoffs. Alice beat Austin OBJ 10-0. It's just the way it always used to be. We used to compete. And somewhere down the line, 25, 30 years ago, the North kept growing and we didn't. And so if you want to get back on that level, I don't see why it wouldn't be possible. What happened in that 25, 30 year time span that their programs kept getting elite, and here it was just Calallen and Refugio are the only ones that stayed elite. I don't get it, man. Like I said, Calallen's just right there. It's just they're not from up north, and they're able to compete with anyone in the state pretty much. So there's no other reason other teams around here can't do the same. This is already getting really long for something that's just projections, so I'll cut it short. But yeah, like I said, this region and 4AD1, it's enough for grabs region, man. The best teams you have to worry about are teams like Bernie and Calallen. And I don't know what to expect from Calallen this year, but I'm sure they'll still be a very good team like they always are. I don't think anything's going to change if they stick with Campbell. But there's no Austin OBJ to worry about anymore. They're still good teams, but there's no reason a team from around here can't make noise in 4AD1 this coming season. The same way the last 2 seasons, someone out of 5AD1 was able to do that. That would just be my only advice to coaches is you want to take the step to the next level, start scheduling better opponents for your non-district, man. It's just stop worrying about your win-loss records and all that nonsense and schedule better opponents. Your program will benefit from it. It might not benefit this year, but 2, 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it takes, at some point you got to do it. You got to do it, or you're going to keep getting your asses whooped in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round by the teams from north of San Antonio. That's just my opinion. But thank you guys for following. Hit the like button, hit the share button, comment is the main thing. I want people to comment so there's something to talk about. And so I'll be doing this again. I think tomorrow I'll do the 5AD1. There's no 5AD2 locally. Yes, there is. I'll do 5AD1 and D2. Because there's D2, Flower Bluff and Gregory Portland aren't not going to opt up to D1. They're going to stay D2 where they belong. But so I'll do that episode tomorrow, and then the day after that I'll do 3A and 2A. But thank you guys for following. But go ahead and put in if you are still watching here towards the end. I don't know because I made this longer than I thought. Engage in the comment section. From if you're a Beeville fan, Alice fan, Calallen fan, Calhoun fan, Rockport fan, Tuloso fan, Kingsville fan. Engage in the comment section where you think how you think your program's going to do this season. Because like I said, nothing's out yet. I don't know who's bringing back what other than the Alice, because I happen to know people from there. But so there's not a lot of info yet. But if you know a lot about your own program, then let me know in the comment section what you expect from your program in 2022. But thank you guys for following. I appreciate all of you. Hit the share button. Thank you guys.